Good morning, everybody, and a happy Wednesday morning to you. I hope everybody is having a fabulous week so far. We have a lot of royal family stuff and Harry Meghan stuff. And just as an FYI, I have taped a message for you guys at the end of this. So you're definitely going to want to get to the end. So there's a lot. Let's just jump in and cover it, shall we? Let's go. We're going to start off. Do you remember I told you the other day about the two gold blue Peter badges that Camilla and Charles got as gifts at their 2023 coronation? Well, one of my subscribers wrote in, I didn't know what these were, and they wrote in and put the comment that these are incalculably worth something because they're awarded by popular vote from a children's TV show. I had no idea. I think that's really cool. All right, next up, I told you that Princess Anne was in the Caribbean and she was there for the King's birthday party celebration in Bridgetown. Apparently, she had a private meeting with the Prime Minister. Also, some pictures showed up because Anne is president of the Commonwealth War Graves Commission, and she laid a wreath to mark the 80th anniversary of VE Day at the Barbados Military Cemetery. She looks lovely. All right, next up, it's official, you guys. Johnny, Lieutenant Colonel Johnny Thompson, the King's equerry, is off the market. He married his fiancée, Olivia Lewis. It was a very small, low-key ceremony at St. Mary's Church in Wiltshire last Saturday. The ceremony was followed by a lunch at reception at Olivia's parents' house, which was nearby. The king was apparently invited to the wedding, but had engagements last week, so I don't believe he was able to attend. Johnny's new wife is a PR executive who used to work for Charles and Camilla, while her father, Simon Lewis, was the former communications head for Queen Elizabeth during the aftermath of Princess Diana's passing away in 1997. Now, the couple have kept their relationship largely away from the spotlight, but were pictured last summer before announcing their engagement. You know, everybody's talking about how cute he is. And then I believe he asked to be taken out of the spotlight. It made him very uncomfortable. Well, good luck with your new marriage, and, I'm sad, but good luck. All right, next up, a reporter who was with King Charles during this whirlwind, trip through Canada came back and was talking about how hard it was on him. He can't even imagine how hard it was on King Charles. So what they're saying now is that Charles is managing his condition and living life as normal as possible, that the king is dealing incredibly well with his undisclosed cancer. And the thing you learn about this illness is that you just manage it, and that's what he does. Medical science has made incredible advances, and this reporter says they see no difference in him as long as you do what the doctors say and live your life, as you normally do, and that's exactly what the king is doing. The king is able to just plow ahead with whatever is thrown at him, and he said it's very admirable. Let's move on now to Prince William. What they're saying is when he ascends to the throne, he's going to reshape the monarchy with his own vision, focusing on less talk and more action. He's going to prioritize projects and events that drive actual change versus just cutting ribbons. Now, according to royal author Edward White, it's a blend of Princess Diana and the late Queen in terms of philosophy. Edward White is the one who wrote the book Diana World, an Obsession, and he recently told The Mirror that the late princess was keen to, quote, bring Prince William up in a way that would help keep the royal family relevant. But in doing so, the Prince of Wales developed his own strategy that also pays tribute to his late mother. Diana was an avid monarchist, and she said she was trying to raise a future king that would ensure the monarchy survived into the 21st century, and William is trying to do a Diana reboot of the monarchy, combining the best of his mother and his grandmother. A good example is, like Diana, Prince William is very passionate about the issue of homelessness. And so last year they did the ITV documentary, Prince William, Can We End Homelessness? And he talked about how Diana brought him to the shelter. And as an adult, he struggles with not doing more. I mean, again, William is going to be a really good king, I believe. All right, moving on. A former palace aide that worked for King Charles when he was married to Diana has passed away at the age of 91. Major General Sir Christopher Ary was the former private secretary to King Charles and Princess Diana. He passed away on April 7th. We're just now hearing about it. This guy apparently had a very distinguished army career, and he became the private secretary and treasurer to King Charles when he was the Prince of Wales in 1990. Apparently, he resigned from the role after 12 months. All right, moving on. All right, next up, a letter written by Princess Diana sent to Buckingham Palace footman Mark Simpson on July 31st, 1981, 2 days after she married King Charles, who was Prince of Wales at the time. And what she said was the following: I just want to thank you for all your kindness and patience you showed towards me since I moved into Buckingham Palace. My stay was made so much easier by your company, as it was so terribly lonely, and we had so many laughs. For that, I can't thank you enough. She then continued on, do hope you were able to enjoy Wednesday and you liked my dress. I'm off to Britannia tomorrow. What with all those men around, I will have to keep a watchful eye on Evelyn. Diane was apparently referring to her aide and personal dresser, Evelyn. The bad news is I haven't eaten any cereal. Sob. How am I going to cope without my bowls of cereal? And then she put a smiley face. A large thank you to you for being you. Much love, Diana. Now, people are saying this just shows how unhappy she was. I do think it shows that before the wedding, she was lonely in Buckingham Palace. But since the wedding, she seemed to be just fine. All right, I have to touch on this really quickly. Brooklyn Beckham and his wife hired Harry and Meghan's lawyer. If you can believe this one, I'm absolutely disgusted. Now, we know that there's a rift going on with Victoria and David Beckham, and they apparently have put together a high-profile legal team to help manage their public image. They have hired Jenny Afia. That's right, the same Jenny Afia who was in the Netflix docuseries. She's with Schilling's law firm, and she counts Harry and Meghan as her many high-profile clients. Now, this development has apparently sparked a lot of amusement among insiders because of the well-documented rift between the Beckhams and the Sussexes. You just can't make it up. First, Brooklyn and Nicola cozy up with Harry and Meghan. They realize they have a lot in common. Then all of a sudden, they've enlisted the help of the Sussexes' long-serving lawyer, because this is what's being reported. The two of them are getting fed up of stories running that they don't like. Nicola is like Meghan. She likes to control everything. And so they've taken this action. I assure you the irony is not lost on the Beckhams, because remember, Harry and Meghan fell out with them after Meghan accused Victoria of leaking stories. Oh, God. All right, next up, I wanted to touch on this. We have not heard from Lemonade if there's going to be a second season of Confessions of a Female Founder, but you should know that a poll was conducted by Express on May 29th, between the 29th and the 31st, and readers were asked whether they would like Meghan to release a second season. And of the 2,063 fans that took part, 2,036 said no. By the way, did you guys happen to notice that on every single episode, everything she talked about was pregnancy or children? It was, a pregnancy complication or a pregnancy, my weight in my pregnancy, or everything was about pregnancy. It was just weird. All right, let's move on now to Harry. They're saying that he's going to become even angrier. Personally, I don't think that's possible. But what they're talking about, once again, was when he jetted all the way to Shanghai to be at the Global Travel and Tourism Conference, where he gave a keynote speech urging the travel industry to support sustainable travel and tourism and shared climate goals. And of course, we know that he's the co-founder of Travelist. The visit has now been questioned, with the royal making the trip while, his father and stepmother were in Canada. And the reason they're saying he's going to be so angry is because he's facing fresh publicity for all the wrong reasons after he flew to China, more than likely on a private jet, while talking about sustainable travel. You guys know already, it's rules for thee, but not for me. Let me lecture everybody else, but I won't follow my own rules. And in the meantime, it's come out that his eco-travel initiative uses a carbon calculator, which is accused of underestimating flight emissions. I'm telling you what, it basically airbrushes the true climate impact of flying. Does anything this guy do not fall flat? I mean, you got to be kidding. Seriously, while he and his wife are flying all around the world, he's telling people to take into account their carbon footprint and consider destinations closer to home when you can. You can't make it up. All right, let's move on. The whole let's change our name to Spencer thing. People are saying on the news that the move was a very bizarre thing for Harry to consider and very extreme. They're saying it's pathological, that it's a pathological act that you have to consider his state of mind. It screams narcissist and attention-seeking behavior, because that's the sort of thing you might expect from someone in their 20s, not a man who's approaching middle age. What this man on the news said, and I completely agree, is that this reveals a, quote, cruel streak to Prince Harry, warning that it's obviously going to cause hurt and embarrassment to King Charles. So why would he want to do that, since he wants to, fix things with the family? All right, let's move on now to Mark Dolan. You guys know how much I love him, and he had a bit of news. I was absolutely shocked when I heard this. Listen to this.
It's absolutely certain that when it comes to the chopping board, Harry will be next. It's not a case of if, but when. Which is why, after extensive research, the Mark Dolan Show can confirm that there is no prenuptial agreement between the couple, which means that the inevitable divorce will be a hellish car crash in slow motion for Prince Harry, who was naive and stupid enough to think that he would be, married to this woman for life. This woman who is famously narcissistic, social climbing, and ruthless. He thought they would be together forever. What a fool. Now, the lack of a prenup is backed up from well-placed sources, notwithstanding research on the part of the Mark Dolan Show, but we also have multiple royal biographies that confirm the fact that there's no prenup. Alongside the Daily Mail, the Telegraph, Vanity Fair, and People magazine, there is no prenup, which means that Harry is in the doo-doo. Meghan Markle is going to clean him out.
Now, I want you to keep in mind, she can't touch the money from the royal family, only Harry. So maybe she will clean Harry out, and then Harry can live like a pauper for the rest of his life. He deserves it. All right, I want to finish. One of my subscribers, Sue Thomas 7447, put this up, and I have a message for you guys. Morning, guys. I just wanted to make a quick message for you to thank you for all of your support. For the people that are putting down comments about my subscriber numbers, YouTube is just not going to let my channel grow. It is what it is. They continue to unsubscribe people. As soon as I get ready to flip over to another number, they start cutting people off. Then, I'm getting emails from people, YouTube has cut me off. I ask YouTube about it. They say, we want you to grow authentically, which means what? What does that mean? It is statistically not possible to stay within these numbers unless it's being manipulated. I'm always reminded of the Royal Griff, who was stuck at 111,000, I think, for like a year or something, which is not statistically possible. And then YouTube just tells you they're not doing anything behind the scenes, which they are. So, but I'm just going to continue to make my content. I thank you guys for your support. Have a great day. All right, you guys, I want your comments. Don't forget to hit the like and the subscribe button, and check to make sure you're still subscribed on a regular basis. Then go down into the description box where you'll find the links to my Twitter, Gettr, Rumble, email, a physical address, a link to my father's book on Amazon, which is still up for sale, a link to my second channel where I'm still covering Italy. I think the last one that dropped was me making pasta, and a link to my Amazon wish list. And for those of you who've donated to my coffee fund, thank you so much. And as always, you guys, have a great day.